The podcast in front of you rattles unsettlingly. Something skitters inside. The label shifts into view, warning: adult content.
Hi, I'm Lisa Kroger. I'm your host this week with Melanie R. Anderson, and we co-authored the book Monster, She Wrote. We'd love for you to check out our latest book with Quirk Books, Toil and Trouble, which is available for pre-order now.
And I'm your other host, Melanie. We'd also love for you to check out our other venture, the Monster, She Wrote podcast. Our author this week is Eris Young. Eris is a queer, transgender author of speculative fiction. Their work has appeared in magazines such as Escape Pod, Fusion Fragment, and Metastellar, as well as anthologies including Uncanny Bodies from Luna Press Publishing, and their story All That Water won first prize in the 2021 British Fantasy Society short story competition. They are the fiction editor at Shoreline of Infinity Sci-Fi magazine. Idomeneja is a PseudoPod original.
Our narrator this week is Steph B. Bianchini. Steph lives in Scotland after regretfully relocating from East Asia. They are a scientist and an academic by professional practice and a historian by education. They blog about the space sector, speculative fiction, and Japanese manga at the Earthian Hive Mind and edit the e-zine Frozen Wavelets of speculative flash fiction and poetry. As a fiction writer, Steph is a member of SFWA and HWA, writing under the byline Russell Hemmel. Their short stories and poetry have appeared in various publications, including Borealis, Cast of Wonders, Flame Tree Press, The Grievous Angel, and others. They joined the PseudoPod team as an associate editor in 2020. Audio production this week is courtesy of Chelsea Davis, and you should check out her nonfiction work over at Tor Nightfire and other places, which can be found at chelseamdavis.net. Now, we have a story for you, and we promise you it's true.
Idomeneja by Eris Young, narrated by Steph Bianchini. Author's note: the speculative elements from the stories are based on the death masks found in the grave circle of the ancient city of Mycenae. I have taken serious artistic liberties with the archaeology and the language. The Linear B. The long ride back to the village, I hold you steady in the bed of the pickup, praying the straps hold, the wood isn't rotted, and you won't be tumbled into dust before I even get you out. Every dip, every hill crest, my heart jumps into my mouth. Sweating, I look eastward, watching for the light creeping back into the sky. It's morning by the time I get you back into the house. Relief of a cold entryway, of knowing you are safe in the garage below the tiles under my feet. Bird songs coming through an open window somewhere. I wash the dust off my skin, and it pools red around the drain. I crawl into my sleeping bag for a few hours, then sit on the balcony to watch the sun move. It dips behind the ridge to the west, but I wait, chewing my cuticles for true sunset. When it is well past the horizon, when it is safe, I go downstairs. Now that I have you, I don't feel rushed. The house, paid up for a month, has olives grows all around. It sits in a construction site. The builders paved to go away. In the village near the dig sites, they are used to archaeologists, to not asking questions where something need to disappear. This is not even the first time Christos has been asked to drive to the site after dark. I will find out later that the fee charged me is a standard one. The wood is rotted on the top. Some water has pulled on it at some point in the last 3,000 years. It splinters blackly as I pry the lid open, heart pounding. Your mask is delicate, rumpled. I hold it under the bare bulb to see the inscriptions, and it nearly floats out of my hand. Later I will look again, trying to find the ghost of your features there, but the design is too stylized. It might as well be my own face beat into the metal. I take a photo with a flash and hear a rustle, no louder than a scrap of paper falling to the floor. We are the only ones here, so I know it's you. The idea that you might be so keen to meet me makes me want to cry. I've been putting off looking at you. Don't think it's because I'm afraid to see your face. It's been 10 years since I found out about you, 6 since I started planning. I knew from the first second what I would find in your sarcophagus. You are beautiful. The fruit of so much labor I can finally taste. I lean over to kiss you on what remain of your teeth, careful not to disturb your jaw. You kick or twitch again. I lick your dust off my lips and whisper, Idomeneja. You don't move, but I feel you respond to your name, and I suddenly understand. You have been waiting for me much longer than I've been waiting for you, so I don't flinch or hesitate at all. Are you proud of me? The first few drops fall onto your face, sending up little puffs of brown dust, but then they start to absorb. I try and get as many as I can into your mouth, until they start leaking out again through a hole in your jaw or neck. I grow dizzy. We both shaking like leaves. I can still hear you rustling as I climb the stairs into the house and lock the door behind me. You drink from me every night like a baby bird or a calf. Your fingers grow softer, your grip stronger. Your mouth braces the skin on my inner arm. It hurts. I know it hurts, my love. Your regrowing muscles, bright new teeth burrowing their way out of your skull, your crushed pelvis reassembling itself. I'm sharing the pain with you, suffering as you sever me. I'm hungry all the time now, as if I were nursing you, or growing you in my womb. I eat peanut butter from the jar, handfuls of fried whitebait, meat, rare and red. I take iron supplements, and still wake up each evening, ready to go to your side, dizzy. But you will take much, much more from me before this is all done. I pace, fidget, impatient. My fingers fray with the action of my teeth. Now that I am so close to what I want, my body feels more tired and shabby than ever. One morning, with you asleep for the day, I finally take out the mask. I have been too preoccupied with you to look at it. I recognize a few ideograms right away, from textbook or other digs. One meaning burnt, another meaning pure or clean. I have to work at the rest, and their mask is too delicate to take a rubbing. I should open a curtain to let in more light, but that feels somehow risky, as if the sun will burn me too. I find mention of a mask's holder or keeper, but nothing of a wearer. One figure stands out, significant, corded or bound. It becomes clear that the mask is more than just grave goods. But the language is opaque, ritualized, not meant to be understood by someone from my century. So my suspicion cannot remain suspicions for now. Just to be sure, though, I lock it back into the hidden panel inside my hard-shell suitcase, securing it before I go to wake you. Your cataracts clear. Your face fills out. I start to see how you must have looked in life. You are younger than I expected. I sit you down in the bathtub and clean away the dirt of 3,000 years with a washcloth and baby shampoo. I massage conditioner into your scalp. You press back into my fingers, eyes closed. Your hair grows to a tight length, then stops. Your bottom lip is full, so you appear to pout. As my body becomes thinner, your grows languid, plump. Is this what you look like at the moment of your death? It must be. Though your throat is smoother and more golden every day, there is a red gash here, like a second mouth, refusing to knit. I know from when I inerted you that whatever did this scored the bone. So even when you appear whole, pretty scarf from a tourist shop covering your neck, you can only mouth words at me, throat straining, in a language I can neither hear nor understand. My chest tightens with a gnawing grief at your lost language, realizing I will never hear you speak it. You are so hungry, It hurts me to admit that you need far more than I can give to you. I do what you need me to do, of course, but I go about it angry, jealous. I make more of a mess than I should. And after that, of course, we must leave. I'll get a password made for you by someone I know in Athens. It's silly, but I take a photo with my phone, just to make sure you'll show up. I set it as my lock screen, like we were a couple on vacation together. By the time I have locked up, dropped the key into the mail slot, you have already climbed into the driver's seat of Christos' pickup. You buckle in, adjust the mirror, and sit back, while I stand, frozen, in the driveway, trying not to let you see how startled I am. I don't know what it means that you know how to drive a stick shift. It's a skill I haven't taught you. A skill I don't even have. I had planned for us to walk to the village, where there is an all-night car rental. I'm tired though. I let you drive and fall asleep watching your eyes move in their sockets, the graceful economy of your soft arm turning the wheel, your fingers curled around the tennis ball stuck onto the head of the gear shift. I wake to suburbs. I've been worried the city would frighten you, but you drink it in, stripes of streetlight and neon painting your angry face. I think you realize there would be more for you here. That thought sets my stomach fluttering. Athens is huge, dirty, loud, busy, even at night. It is crumbling and ancient and gorgeous. It suits you. You reach up to finger the glass mati hanging from the rear view. You read the exit sign and ease from the highway to side streets. Like I've driven this way before. I go cold. I remember Christos' body, lighter than a bundle of sticks in my arm. He rattled in his skins as I tipped it into turned earth of the construction site. I let you drain him completely. You are so angry, and at the time I couldn't see what harm he could do. Now I think through the implications, the possibilities. I wonder what else you have learned from Christos. My throat began to itch with a familiar, restless want, like thirst. You are capable of such drama. I sleep in one night and wake to find you tearing up the hotel room. You are so wild, I don't immediately realize you are looking for something. My suitcase is lying open in a corner, cloth lining shred. My chest tightens, but the false panel is still intact. I breathe out slowly, try not to look toward the suitcase. You turn to me and gesticulate, mouthing silently in your ancient language. Then you kneel, you beg. I know what you want. It's so close I could give it to you with a glance in the right direction. But I keep still, my face a perfect blank, as if I don't understand. You fly at me in a human, incandescent malice, but your clothed hands stop just short of my eyes. I do not flinch. You have confirmed my suspicions. You cannot hurt me. You seem to realize it at the same time I do, and become docile again. As I treat, I take you to it. To be safe, we have to wait until very late, 3 or 4 in the morning. You fill out a gold lame dress that you have chosen for yourself. I colored, of course. I am gaunt and pale, in the only suitable thing I own. A black cocked dress I used to wear to conferences. I show you how to walk in heels. We go to Exarchia, join a group of young men drunk enough not to care who we are, to mind my accented Greek or your silence. As we hoped, one of them latches onto you. You catch my eyes and drop back, letting him pull you into an alley. After a minute, I shout, I'm going to check on my friend. No one notices me leave. The nameless boy is very drunk. He doesn't mind when your teeth sink into his neck. Maybe you think it's sexy. But as his face grows grey and he starts weakly to struggle, I remember the smooth action of your hand on the gear shift. I remember Christos. I wonder what this Greek boy knows that I don't. I reach behind you and the lolling teenager and gently turn your face to mine. We can't kill anybody here. It's too dangerous. Your body tenses. The lamps on your hungry eyes follow me, your mouth smeared black in the dark. For a moment, I think you'll see through me to the real reason I won't let you drown this boy. That you will try to hurt me again, But of course, you don't. I'll let you drink from me back at the hotel. And then it happens. I thought there would be more fanfare somehow, but you simply pull away from me one evening and offer up your own wrist. I take your hand, feel its weight. I need to make sure you're really doing this, that I'm not dreaming this moment, as I have done 1,000 times before. I shudder all over, touch my lips to the skin of your wrist, pitch soft. I look into your eyes and I see resolution there, determination. You are making this choice, and early that there's the hope. Your blood is thick and bright and sweet. It flows like honey down my throat. I open myself to accept it. It rounds down my chin and between my breast, into my lap. It tastes just as new it would. And when I can hold no more, you must drink it back from me. I knew this would come. I've been craving this moment for a decade. I'm not frightened. You must empty me completely, so newness can fill me. A sigh escapes me. I give it all to you, no holding back any more. I reach up to grasp your shoulders, but my arms are weak. You are so tender as you lie me down. It's quiet. I can't see. I'm not breathing, no pulse beating in my neck. The urge to fidget, to pace, or chew my fingernails is gone. I realize I never felt my body completely at rest before. I wait for you to come to me, knowing I have all the time in the world. My body is so heavy. I'm hungry, thirsty. I know what I need. Just thinking about it starts up a want in me deep and pulsing, just like I wanted you all these years. I give myself up to this sweet want for a while, soaking it. I move my head and something shifts. I drag my arm up and drop my hand onto my face, all the movement I can manage. My fingers meet familiar contours, the particular sleek delicacy of beaten gold. The mask is much heavier than I remember. My fingers crumbles, instinctively try to pull the mask off my face. But before I can hook a fingertip under it, my hand sighs, nervous on fire, like someone is bending my fingers back on themselves, pulling them out of their sockets, and I have to drop my hand. I try to move, to feel around where I am, but raising my arm took all the strength I had. I stop, waiting for the pain to subside. I am on a rough surface, stone. A breeze touched my neck, smelling of greenery, dust, and urine. Where am I? Where are you? I try to call out, Idomeneja, but my voice is dead in my throat. I hear something, a car driving by, wind rustling to leaves. The distant bark of a dog. I can feel more than I see the open sky above me. Something else starts up, quiet but slowly gathering. A new sound. It's pretty, I think, before I realize what it means. All of a sudden, I know what you have done. Why you gave me what I wanted so readily. If I had the strength, would I weep or laugh? The sound is birdsong. It rises all around me with the dawn.
Wow, what a chilling and terrifying ending we have to this story, Idomeneja. I have to say, as a fan of Star Trek, I feel like I could have warned this narrator that you should not touch ancient masks. That always seems to do in any protagonist who does that in science fiction or horror fiction. One of the things that I thought was really interesting about this particular story was the way that Eris Young mixed mummy and vampire lore. At first, I thought this was going to be just a straight up kind of mummy story, but then there starts being the transfer of blood involved and a possibility that the narrator is maybe becoming a vampire toward the end, though there's a lot of ambiguity in the story, which is great as well and very heightens the tension. But I liked that shift to where you have both those lores being played with, both of those classic horror monsters being played with here. It struck me as very Weird Tales, like something that could have been in the original Weird Tales magazine. It's kind of reminiscent, Lisa, of some of the authors that we talked about in Monster She Wrote from that time period.
It really does remind me of a lot of the authors that we covered, especially in that kind of Weird Tales era. Like you said, this is a very classic story about what happens when you start playing with ancient artifacts that really should be left alone. And I liked your connection there of the troublesome nature of masks that maybe should be left alone. I'm not a big Star Trek fan, but I am a fan of Halloween 3. And I know from that, any time that there are creepy masks, maybe you should not put them on your face. Maybe they should just be left alone and not played with. But one of the things we learned about in our book, Toil and Trouble, is that the occult, which is literally just hidden knowledge that often is forbidden for good reason, is sometimes irresistible. And it's always going to have a pull and a draw towards it. And in that lies really great horror. And I think Eris Young really captures that here in Idomeneja. You know what? Mel and I just really always love when we get to work with PseudoPod, not just because we get to, hear some really great stories like this one by Eris Young, but we also love to get to be a part of their podcasting work, because whether you're, I think, a big podcast or a small podcast, podcasting is really hard work. And so with that in mind, we'd love for them to get some love from you, the listeners. If you can donate anything to help them out, please head over to pseudopod.org and click on Feed the Pod to subscribe. I know they would love it. If you can't do that, maybe simply rate and review them, which I'm sure they would also appreciate. But we would love it if we could just show them a lot of love and support for what they're doing here, because they're really doing great work. PseudoPod is part of Escape Artists Incorporated and is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 international license. Theme music is by permission of Anders Manga.
PseudoPod knows this creature is the bringer of death. He will never eat, he will never sleep, and he will never stop.
It's a pseudopod. It's a big foot.
It's all about podcasts these days.